Okay, so this will be for a YouTube video. So hello, everyone knows me. I'm Clossi. He's not Colossius. He's Clossi Jr. Clossi Jr.
I will break you.
Well, she's Mrs. Colossius. I'm Colossius, so we had to do something for him, and we were like Clossi Jr. That's a funny name.
I'm gonna punch you.
I didn't spray paint a photo. Oh my gosh. Don't stop lying to people. I did not spray paint a photo to make myself look Asian. That was a photo shoot that we did for like a headshot for some acting classes or whatever. That was completely different. Completely non-government related. Alright, so we have AlphaGo versus AlphaGo Game 5. Did we skip Game 4? I think we did. We'll go back to Game 4 in another video, and I'll just post it with this one or whatever. Anyway, so we're going to look at this. So, Mrs. Colossius. No Asian. Show us the first weird move. You have to click on the branch first.
The branch is going.
There you go. And we're going to see what we can learn from this game.
That's weird.
So that is, yeah, keep going.
I found a weird move.
This one's weird?
You're punching from the larger side.
Why is this one weird?
I've never seen like a approach like that.
You've never seen a high approach?
No.
Oh, this isn't weird. So this is just a high approach instead of a low approach. So it's still the third and fourth line, and it still stops the Shumai, right?
Okay.
So this is actually a common approach. The first weird move I see is actually this one. This one feels weird because it lets black approach with support. So they actually call this losing on the second move, because when you play this, black just gets a free approach with support. I mean, it shouldn't be so easy. White should play the other 3/4, that way black approaches from this side, and then black doesn't have the support in the corner. So this one, yes, we play open corners, but now black has Sente, and black gets to approach with support, so it feels good for black. So we usually don't like that second move. Okay, this is Joseki.
That's weird.
Fix the cut? It's fixing the cut?
Great guy wants it again. It's okay. They just need done. They're ironing out the details
Okay.
now.
Okay, that's weird. Okay, so let's discuss this top left corner. We have lots to talk about here. Alright, so for those of you who follow AlphaGo on a regular thing, you will note that, ignore the rest of the board, you will note that AlphaGo started tanuking this and started attaching to a Shamari over here. So I'll give you an example position where AlphaGo started doing that. It was Mickey Mouse, the Mickey Mouse variation. I can completely make fun of your sneeze, by the way. So we play something like this, and then we will play a high approach, and this is a common opening so far. And then the Tiger's Mouth is very common to get the extra extension to reduce the Shamari. And then we do this, and then AlphaGo started ignoring that, and there were some attachments here. Now, this attachment isn't new, but it was more than just this situation that AlphaGo actually started ignoring after playing the Tiger's Mouth. And another move that we learned was this peep. AlphaGo would sometimes play this peep in Tanuki. So, now, I'm not 100% on this, but there's a theory floating around that because of this peep, this group is considered light, and it's very easy to deal with, and so you can Tanuki. And the reason we don't need the territory as much is because there's actually still an invasion here. And then we can play stuff like this to steal the points. So, in theory, this Tiger's Mouth, because of this peep, is okay to Tanuki, or maybe we'll peep first and then Tanuki to make sure black responds. Like I said, the Mickey Mouse variation. And that way, we learned that this variation you might be able to ignore. So that's the first thing we learned. Now, the next thing we learned is that AlphaGo was starting to play here. Now, many pros were actually trying this out recently, so maybe AlphaGo actually got it from the Asian pros, because I've seen some Asian pros, especially the young Asian pros, try out this move in Korea. And when I asked my teacher about it, he said, basically, this is just trying to get 2 more points, but because there's some moves to push down like this later, not right now, later, because there's some Aji right here, or there's some push down right there, there's some Aji right here, and there's forcing moves out here, it's just not worth, the Aji's not worth 2 points. However, AlphaGo started playing this, and so while the Aji may not be worth 2 points, there's also the theory that the reason AlphaGo plays this move is so that way when White plays this peep, you get 2 more points to make up for White getting Sente here. So there's a lot of real theories being thrown around about this. I don't know all of them, but these are the ones that I've heard personally. So when there's the Tiger's Mouth, a 2-space extension has become common. Now, if there's not a Tiger's Mouth, then I've seen from my experience that we still jump 1 for the same reasons, because the 2 points aren't worth the Aji. But now it's just not that big for White to play here because it's not as Sabaki-ish. Do you remember what Sabaki means? Play light and loose and be willing to get out fast, right? So it's more like speed in your opponent's area and be willing to give up something, just play quick shape to get out fast. Light, loose, and basically float like a butterfly kind of situation. Like float like a butterfly and get out fast. Don't worry about this thing, just get out. And so here it's not as interesting for White to play the peep. I don't think it's impossible, I just haven't seen it. So in this one, normally you would 2 stones would jump 3 to make the base. However, in this game, now that we know that, now that we're caught up on that, in the game we see that Black connected and then Tanuki. So first let's talk about why not the Tiger's Mouth. Well, the Tiger's Mouth wouldn't be ideal on top, just for the simple fact that when you extend, you want to play 2 stone jumps 3, so this is a 3-space extension. 1, 2, 3, and you get to the 3rd line. However, the relationship between the star point and this 3rd line move isn't as ideal shape-wise as it could be, and that is the reason for that is if you simply played this connection and then jumped, now it's a 5-space extension. So do you remember how far a corner is supposed to extend? If you were just playing a natural extension. I know you know.
5, right?
Yeah,
5?
you jump over 5 for a normal extension. So this one is a 3-space extension from 2 and a 5-space extension from the corner. So it's like a perfect extension for both of them. And you can play 4th line because you have support on both sides. You can play 3rd line if you're worried, but 4th line is most common here. So this shape on top is actually quite common. It's a very common shape. But AlphaGo just ignored. And one last thing I would like to point out is that I have seen AlphaGo also ignore these 3 stones. Though I wasn't expecting to know this one because the top just seems so perfect. And the perfect, it's usually perfect, so why not play it? But AlphaGo has been seen to ignore this one because after White plays a pencil, you can just play 2-space jump here. I think it's this one. I forget, but I know because you have a 2-space jump, it is ignorable according to AlphaGo. And we're losing people like crazy. So maybe AlphaGo just wants Sente again and thinks stopping the Shimari or approaching the Shimari or stopping the Shimari and approaching the 3-4 is bigger than an extension on the side, even though it's a base. So I don't know. I think the top move at K16 is perfect. I think it's ideal. I think it's beautiful. I really like K16. So to me, playing at C5 just seems too speedy, too fast. But AlphaGo really likes to play fast. AlphaGo really likes Sente. So, Jasper, what do you think? Do you agree with my... What do you think about ignoring this to play the 3-4?
I think it's dumb.
You think it's dumb?
I think it's dumb.
You think AlphaGo's just dumb?
It doesn't have a base.
It doesn't have a base, no. But remember, if White plays here, you can just jump out.
Jump out. You
Yeah.
have the eye to go any way you want.
Yeah. But do you think this is bigger than on top?
I don't know. It's Sente, so I like Sente.
AlphaGo does like Sente. I like the top move better. It seems safer and easier.
I agree.
But AlphaGo likes this. You just think AlphaGo's dumb. AlphaGo's dumb, guys. It's just AlphaGo's just dumb. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he's just playing elsewhere. Maybe in the opening, AlphaGo is dumb, but we just aren't strong enough to prove him wrong. So I don't know. Maybe he's just that good at fighting.
I don't think that's the case.
I don't think it's the case either, but it'd be funny. It's a funny theory. Anyway,
I don't
so
like this game. It's too complicated already.
it's too complicated already.
Yes, it is.
It's not that complicated. It's just I had to show a lot of Joseki variations that AlphaGo's been using, so that way we can understand that AlphaGo has his reasons behind these things. We just aren't fully understanding what's bigger than what yet. But it's just some Joseki ideas for you. All right, so now white Tanukis, and I've been seeing a low approach. First off, I've been seeing more common than the high approach, or I say more common, but I've been seeing a lot of the low approach, and I've been seeing a Tanuki from the low approach as well. So there's another thing you can potentially Tanuki in your games, but you need to know the follow-ups and Josekis, so it's important. Are you charging your phone?
No.
Why? Is it important to charge your phone right now? Okay. And another Tanuki. So this one I don't quite fully understand. Alright, so first thing on top, I've seen this shape before, so I can't say I know it, but I've seen these three stones and this move, but I don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know why it's played. To me, it just looks like it's very easy to reduce on the shoulder hit, and these three stones are still kind of invadable and attackable. So, to me, I still don't quite understand that move. And why ignore Q4 but defend Q16? So, I don't understand why you can ignore Q4 but you want to go on top.
He's not defending anything. It's just to make points.
Is it just points, though?
Well, he's threatening you have an extension to take away white space. Because if he gets an extension there at Q10, then white's already pinched.
This is true.
Setup move. Also, black has no points, and white has a corner.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the judgment here between this move versus a regular move to defend Q4. But ignoring Q4 isn't unheard of. It's just the timing here is beyond me.
Yeah.
N17 doesn't secure the
I
corner.
think he felt like it.
He just felt like it. The corner is still invadable, though. Alright, so we do see the shoulder hit immediately. This is common to reduce the position to make sure the influence doesn't get too much too quickly. So AlphaGo likes to reduce stuff very fast. And then he comes back and does this, which is fine.
Why not take Tiger's Mouth?
Assuming here.
Yes.
So this one, I wouldn't do. The reason is, this is normally the shape, yes. Tiger's Mouth is usually the vital point. But 3 stones with a 2-space jump doesn't feel right. So on this shape, I would prefer a clamp.
But you don't know what you want just yet, so you.
Yeah, I would prefer a clamp on this shape, just for the fact that it'll help me get points on top. It keeps whites unsettled, and the clamp's another idea to this shape. So personally, I would prefer the clamp or a push and jump. These are what I would prefer personally. However, one thing that I find perplexing, no, don't click things, What is this? Cancel. Is that AlphaGo defended his corner instead of attacking. Now, we've seen in previous games that AlphaGo thinks attacking is better than defending, because he's AlphaGo and he's a lot better at it. But in this case, he defended rather than attacked. Well, that's actually probably the first time we've seen him do that. We've seen him defend while attacking, so maybe that's what he's doing here. Maybe that's what he's doing, because we haven't seen him defend without attacking yet. Yes.
Idea. If white doesn't respond, he can attack that group. Or he can. Oh, sorry. He can attack the R6 group.
So he's defending while attacking.
Yeah, but he can also, while the R6 group is running after the pincer, he can threaten the K14 cell.
K or M?
L, M. One of those. I'm at the side.
Okay,
Two
so
stones in the center.
I think you're right. I think actually it's not that AlphaGo is defending, it's just he's defending while attacking. We have seen AlphaGo do this. Now, it's not that AlphaGo doesn't defend, I've seen him attack before defending. But if there's a defense near an attack, then he'll defend while attacking. But I haven't seen him just defend. Yeah, the best offense is a good defense. So a good defense can be a good offense. So he'll defend while attacking, and I have seen this, so maybe that's what he's doing here. But I wasn't expecting it. All right, now AlphaGo goes here. There's the AlphaGo we know, and that is attack before defending. But he also stops some influence here. All right, attack before defending again.
So why does he do that now? Why does he take the daggers now?
So this just means that AlphaGo's stronger than me. Because to me, I don't like this. I know AlphaGo played it, but I would still prefer something up here.
I think if that white thing's a stick, then he can have two things to attack.
See, to me, this feels easier and better.
But then white is
White's
settled.
floating. No, why I wouldn't say white's settled. White's floating. I'm settled. I have points. To me, this or the clamp feels better. But this is from my experience. So to me, I actually don't understand why Black would choose this one.
Oh no.
Because this feels over-concentrated. White can easily Sabaki and unsettle these stones. So this move, you pointed it out, and I disregarded it. But AlphaGo still played it.
I'm out.
You're AlphaGo.
My timing was off. I had to do those exchanges first.
Yeah, so this move, I will say, I don't understand why.
He's gonna...
Someone said trying to make white heavy up top.
The other one also.
Yeah, the other ones also can make him heavy. Like the clamp also makes him heavy.
Although I guess because he's confident the black group is fine. And if
He
the
is treating the
okay.
black group very lightly.
Also comes down
So
to
let's see what the follow-up is.
Tanuki
Well, okay.
you're one move away from that.
Tanuki, of course.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know this one either. Because I would think you would extend up here somewhere and attack these stones while defending.
Well,
But he does this. This is just a big move while defending.
from my thought of what I had, my thought earlier was black is to attack two groups at the same time. That kind of tries to connect the two groups.
So you think this move, you think the purpose of this move is to help the M-line stones from afar, and also try and half get a base with R6?
Yeah.
So you think it's a double defense?
Yes.
That's a good theory. Alright, this is a common shape to steal the base. Attack before defense.
defending.
AlphaGo loves to do this. Attack before defending. And defend while attacking.
Yeah.
Attack before defend. So this is
Attack
something.
before
Yeah,
defend.
this is something we find very difficult. Is that when I teach a class approach defense before attack. So we've understood that AlphaGo values attacking more than defense, but we also understand that AlphaGo sometimes likes defending while attacking. When does it become bigger to defend while attacking rather than attacking? So here we see AlphaGo playing this move rather than any type of defense on the right. But we don't see the black AlphaGo defending these two stones, but only attacks on the right. So is it because there's no way to defend while attacking that AlphaGo is not defending these two black stones, or not defending the right white stones, he's attacking these two black stones? Is that, what do you think?
Sorry, my brain is this way.
Is it now?
You said black AlphaGo, and my brain just went.
Black AlphaGo.
My brain went straight to Dragon Ball Z Bridge.
Silently dying for like 5 minutes.
AlphaGo's the new black. Oh my gosh.
Popo.
This is why it's hard to have reviews with you guys here.
These are the black AlphaGo.
You
right?
said it.
So what I was trying to say
AlphaGo. Sorry.
is
continue.
AlphaGo values attacking more than defending, but if he can defend while attacking, he'll value that more. But since there's no defense while attacking on the right as white, he's trying to attack the left side because he doesn't see a way to defend while attacking. Do you agree with this statement?
I didn't hear it.
You got to pay more attention.
I was laughing. Kira, what's the answer?
I think the answer is yes.
Is it you saying yes just to agree with me, or do you have a do you just think I'm completely wrong?
Your logic is right. Like,
AlphaGo's the new black.
that too. It's not what I was saying yes to, but that too. But I think your reasoning as to why he attacks before defending.
We need to learn to focus. I think that's our biggest weakness right now is focus.
Normally, I'm really good at this.
Normally.
I do.
So it's Jasper's fault.
It is me. Me and
We
Kara,
can't focus.
me and Kara are bouncing off each other.
Also, you made nice drag go straight to a UV bridge club. So it's actually your fault for introducing me to BBV bridge in the first place.
Okay, so what was the question?
Anywho.
Okay, we're moving on now. So I do think that AlphaGo values attacking more than defense, as we've stated before. But it's very curious to see these two Blackstones are so weak. But everyone's ignoring the weak groups because just attack. Now, I want to see like this style be applied by pros, and I wonder if it is possible to apply this style in our games. It's just very dangerous, as I mentioned before. Like, I would be super scared.
Reading.
It's so much reading, and I'd be super scared to play this way.
Yeah, those Blackstones are dead.
But
Fine.
I will say that if you can defend as well as you can attack, you can do this. But how good is your attack and defense? How good is it? And your timing. So it'd be very hard to apply this style, but you see that this is seeming pretty consistent for AlphaGo to do. It's a pretty consistent style that AlphaGo values attacking more than defending. I still don't know if I can recommend it to my students yet. Because I guess AlphaGo doesn't get scared of reading. AlphaGo has confidence. This is true.
My thought
Girls don't
is attacking is better than defending, but the defending is easier to do correctly.
That's a good thought. Defending's easier to do correctly, but attacking, in theory, is more valuable than defending.
Yeah.
That's a good thought. Timing and power. Yeah. Students should not do this. Dwyron says students should not practice this unless they want to watch everything and they just die. This is true. You have to be very good at defense and offense. You can't just be one or the other. You have to have like really good skills in both to be able to pull this off. Because defending or tanukiing weak groups is very scary. Very scary. So, and also very dangerous because if you die, that's a lot of points. And it's very hard to kill. So, it's weird, but it's a lot easier to die than it is to kill. Don't ask me how, but it's a common saying. Killing things is hard.
I agree.
But living is usually easier than killing. But if your defense is not like up to speed, then it can also be very scary.
Speaking as someone who living is my biggest weakness, yes.
Yeah, so I still think if you're not good at defending, defend first. Because this is a very difficult style to pull off. But you can see AlphaGo's consistently doing it. So it's very curious. So it's like the difference of like as a teacher, it's a complex problem. Do you tell them what the top players are doing, or do you tell them the easiest thing to do? Do you tell them the best move, or do you tell them a move that's easier for them to use? And that's difficult. That's difficult as a teacher. So of course you normally want to tell them the easier thing, the more likely to win thing. But at what point do you transition? At what level do you transition from a good enough move that's easier to use to the best move or the best strategies?
I'd say once they've mastered like that easy move, it's like, okay, I know how to do this thing confidently. So I'm going to try this other thing to learn it, but if I'm not good at it, I still have this thing that I am good at to fall back on.
So we have some viewers saying 7-Dan learn the transitions. When they're confident they don't need a teacher. Yeah. 7-Dan is the transition. So it's an interesting idea of when would you transition that attack is better than defense, because defense is easier than attack. Like defending first and then attacking second is easier, and the Clossi approach also tells us that. But AlphaGo is consistently saying that attacking is better than defense. So finding that transition, when that transition is good,
I also think it's
is very interesting. I think it's a very interesting thing to think about. Is at what level is that transition?
It kind of depends on the person and their strengths and weaknesses.
It can also depend on the person. But I find this, like, it's not something that I think Q players will be able to learn, but I think it's something that I don't recommend Q players to do this first, because I don't even think I'm strong enough to implement this strategy correctly. I would think probably after, in my opinion, I would say 5-Dan plus. I would say 5-Dans know the basics, then they can start practicing this idea. But I would say, as a viewer, as someone who watches pro games, or someone who might watch some Hide-On games on occasion, or watch some Hide-On friends play, it would be interesting to see when they make that transition. I think as a viewer, it could be a very interesting thing to think about. All right, but we are still seeing some attacks, and we do see this move to Unsettle. This one I find curious because normally the shape is here. So I do find this move curious, and I'm wondering what the follow-ups are. Because if white just defends, then we do have some interesting Hanes here. But at the same time, there's a lot of cutting points for white. So it's a very interesting shape point here. So I will say, make note of the shape. I will say, make a note of the shape, but I don't know the follow-ups yet. I haven't studied this shape before. But just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for this shape. You might see it in pro games, you might not. Maybe it's just this one game. But I would say this one is not the common one. So I would say make a note of it and see if it comes up again and see if you can learn when it's used. But for now, I would say there's stones on this side, stones on that side, so maybe. But I don't know if I would practice that shape, but I would say make a note of it. So this one, I think, is very influential. An influential defense? Or just a big move. I'm not sure, actually, how to say that, how this move is supposed to work in AlphaGo strategy. It does get influence. I know what it does. It does get influence, and it does defend some weaknesses from afar, but those weaknesses look so severe right now that I want to defend more directly, in my opinion. So I would say for this move, I can't say what AlphaGo is doing. I actually am unsure of what AlphaGo is doing. What do you think?
As a 20Q, in my very, very professional opinion.
Your professional
opinion.
opinion.
In my professional 20Q opinion, I can confidently say I have no clue what the heck he's doing.
Okay, what about you? Do you have any idea?
Shoulder hits or Sente.
Shoulder hits are kind of Sente. So you think he's just trying to make a Sente exchange that's good for him before moving on?
That's that.
And that's just it?
Well, it's also a friend. It's close friend.
So he's just trying to make a Sente exchange while it's Sente before moving on?
Because if he starts running, he won't be Sente.
That might be true. That might be true. But he's responding.
Huh?
He responded. So maybe your theory's wrong.
Well, he still has friends to run to. Still in Sente.
I don't know. Because if he loses Sente here, then what's the point?
Well, what's Black going to do next?
Huh?
I want to see what Black.
If I'm Black, I expect Black to Tanuki. I don't know what I would do as Black.
I would know up. At R9.
R9?
I'll no be Black.
See, there's so many things to think about on this board. It's very complex. What if White loses Sente? If White loses Sente, then I think your theory's wrong. But it's hard to say. Okay, so Black did play this.
Jasper, you're AlphaGo.
I'm saying those two stones are they could live, they cannot live. So That's it.
It's a good attacking move. Yes. There's just so many weaknesses on the board. It's hard to figure out which one's the biggest. But yeah, this is pretty darn big. I'll admit that. I just don't understand. I still don't understand the shoulder hit.
I don't know about the shoulder.
Attack before defending. Now it's one move from death, right? If not already dead. So either Black is going to respawn now, or AlphaGo considers them dead.
No way.
In my opinion, I think that is that we can determine what AlphaGo thinks in the next move, but that's my opinion on how AlphaGo's thinking right now. So, Ichinugi. So I want to say
those dead Black Suns.
I want to say the Black Suns are dead and are nothing but Aji now. So that's a really big bottom left corner. However, Black has a lot of control in the top right. A lot of control.
Also,
So this seems very scary for both players, I guess.
R6 is not safe at all.
No, nothing on the right side for white is safe. There's a lot of weak white groups. So I would say probably it's okay to give those 2 stones because you're probably going to make that much profit back. Now, this is one of the weaknesses I've seen in my games is you can end up with this position. So right here, it looks like it's even, right? Yes, you gave up 2 stones, but you have all these attack potential, or all this attack potential, so you should be able to make up the points from the bottom left corner back. But one of the weaknesses I've noticed in my games is while attacking, I'm not able to make as much profit as I would expect to make. So I would actually be scared here as Black for the simple fact that, yes, I'm confident I can attack, but will I make as much as that bottom left corner from this attack? And I can't say I'd be
The answer
confident
is
of that.
no, you would not. AlphaGo will. Also, one thing I've noticed about AlphaGo is that he chooses one thing after a couple moves. One color is influence, and one is more territory.
So you think one decides influence, one decides territory, but don't try to play.
I'm saying if someone's going territory style, don't try to beat them at their own territory. Style.
Don't play your opponent's game.
Yeah.
So if your opponent's doing territory, and you're doing influence, just do influence. But if you end up with an influence position, your opponent's going territory, just do influence. But if your opponent has influence and you have some territory, don't try to match your influence now because you're just gonna fall behind. Just keep doing what your stones are doing.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea. Ooh, a connect. That feels heavy.
No. Screw AlphaGo.
That feels heavy. Cap. That's Sente, but why? The timing doesn't make sense. What?
What? No. I'm done.
This is complicated. Okay, so first off, I would expect Black to play a capping move right here. Something to surround. Right? Something to surround. If he's already surrounded, then you want to take the eye space or something, like maybe down here. And then if you run, then maybe you could still surround like that. Those are 2 strategies that I would expect, or those are 2 things that I would want to read out. However, Black decided to play this Sente exchange. And it's semi-Sente because there's a big cut here. But the timing feels very strange. Maybe he's threatening to just live locally while White is trying to live, but the timing feels strange to me, but he might just be threatening a life, trying to get one good move in Sente before moving back. But then White ignores it and says, I don't care if you live, I'm trying to live. But then both sides are defending and neither one's attacking, which
is contradictory.
Yeah, so actually, the thinking here is very strange. So for Black, I think Black's just threatening life, trying to get some free exchanges. For White, White is saying, I'm going to sacrifice in order to defend this weak group. Okay, Black gets that. We see some exchanges. And then Black says, okay, I have those exchanges at my leisure, but now it's time to attack you. So this is all actually very difficult to understand. The timing for each of these things actually is very difficult. So Black does have some follow-ups. For example, he has some Sente follow-up right here for one exchange right there. And then some Ataris right here. And then after this, black looks pretty much alive. It is small, though, but black is completely alive. So black can live very easily. So now he's saying, because I can live easily, and you can't kill me in one move, even if you prevent it, even if white prevents it later, black still is probably going to be able to live fairly easily. So I guess AlphaGo's saying he has Miai for life now, so go attack. But then why didn't he attack from the start? So I think that's very confusing for me. Alright, so now he unsettles black because attack is the best defense, so unsettle your opponent's the best defense. That's AlphaGo's opinion. And now we see black, of course, taking the Miai, which also unsettles white. So these four stones are very, very dangerous for white, but they're both treating them so lightly that it's hard to comprehend as an amateur player. Those stones look so attackable. But if you actually tried to attack AlphaGo would just consider them so light and then take all the points. So it's very difficult to wrap your head around those four stones being light, I guess, or ignorable as much as they are. So I find that very interesting. This is a Sabaki shape. Trying to surround black while also playing Sabaki, but it's very cuttable. Very cuttable right here. So it's very interesting. Oh, okay. This stone's come back to life. The timing again is interesting because these still seem attackable. And according to the moves earlier, these looked dead. Now, I thought there was Aji. I knew there was still Aji right here. But this one looks like it's trying to live on the inside.
I read that in fact.
It looks like it will die to me too. Like, it looks very, very, very difficult to live in there. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Oh! Hey, Jessica. Look at this. Jessica.
This is not possible, right?
Well, if you're trying to live, does it give you the forcing moves needed to live?
Oh.
So maybe this is the reason why AlphaGo says he can live in here, is because of something like this. But I actually don't understand. I don't see all the follow-ups. I think the most he's going to give is a couple forcing moves here. But will that be enough for live? I'm not sure.
That's
This is the variation I was expecting, but... Syntax exchange.
Yeah.
This is the forcing moves I was expecting.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if he's still alive yet or not. Oh, a Hane. I didn't think of that. It seems very basic, but I didn't see it many moves ago. Okay, so that lived.
Alrighty then.
That's a cool, interesting thing. So if you ever find yourself in a life and death situation like that, maybe this variation can help you. Maybe this will save you. You never know. This is a cool little shape to remember. I won't say this will be very often. This will appear. I would say it's very, very rare. But it's cool to know that there might be a Tsuji for some forcing moves there. So I think that's a cool little Tsuji to know. But I would say that one's going to be difficult to pull off if you're not, unless you're very strong and very good at reading. But it's a cool shape to learn. We learned a new shape. 3/3, that is still invadable. So just a probe, I guess, and then a defense. All right, and we see points while attack. Some Sente. This is a very interesting way to attack this shape. It's very solid. White is playing very light on the outside, and that corner is still interesting. And that looks alive. That corner is now alive. There are some forcing moves for endgame, but otherwise that corner is either a Seki or alive. So let's look at that for a second. Here, here, Atari, there. Play here. This threatens the throw-in, so I have to fix. And here, here, and here, and then here. At worst, this is a Seki. This is what I'm reading. So I might be completely wrong, but that's the shape I'm seeing right now. Is that's a potential Seki. But all these are co-threats, I guess. So the timing of when you play them is, I guess, up to you. But right now it looks like a Seki. But Seki or no Seki, that group is definitely live. Alright, so now black comes back to attacking and trying to gain profit. So this is a good move to try to make some eye shape, but also unsettling black again. And then black ignores again. So I would be very scared as black, because that top left corner looks so weak if you don't have a base on the side. The top left looks very weak. You're very quiet today. So, I'm scared of the top left, but black says attack before defense. Or AlphaGo says attack before defense. Unsettle, yep. Keep some eyes. And then Tanuki. There's so many weak groups, and he manages to help these weak groups so easily. I would like to see, actually, how he handles when his opponent attacks. So I think actually seeing this, you can learn how AlphaGo likes to think. And then maybe after going through these 50 games, we can look at the games where he actually did play people, like Lee Sedol and Kuje. Or we can look at the Kuje game specifically and say, because these games were played before Kuje, and see how he handled when Kuje attacked him. Because if you recall, AlphaGo had many groups on the board. I haven't analyzed them myself specifically yet. Not saying that I can analyze it better than a pro. I'm just saying that with the mindset of how AlphaGo likes to approach the game, maybe his opponents, maybe a human player, did try to attack him, and he knew how to defend, and that's why he's playing the way he's playing in these games. So maybe we can actually see how he would defend these weak groups that you're ignoring against the human by looking at the Kuje games. We might be able to see that later. We may be able to also see the... we might still be also able to learn how to defend ourselves better from Fan Hui, if I pronounce that correctly, and Iseidol. And we can look at those games as well and probably also learn how to defend ourselves better. But I think AlphaGo's defense is just so strong, he's able to confidently ignore. And I think that's actually something we can probably learn from AlphaGo. Is for AlphaGo's style, I guess, he's so confident in his defense, he can attack first, defend later, and also play very big moves. If it's very light and it has like Miai to live, he'll just go play a big move. So we can actually see that in AlphaGo, and I think AlphaGo is just very, very confident in his defense that he always wants Sente and gets the next big thing. So I think that's very interesting to see from AlphaGo. Us doing it as amateur players, us doing it ourselves, I think would actually be very difficult though. So with that in mind for AlphaGo's style, how would you apply that kind of mindset in your game? Do you think you could apply that in your game? If so, how would you go about applying that in your game?
22, I have no idea.
In theory.
In theory, like as a high level player, you'd be able to implement a little bit more because it's easier to understand, I guess.
Mm-hmm. But as an amateur player, what do you think you can take from this? From AlphaGo's sense of his defense is this strong so he can ignore. As an amateur player, what do you think you can take from it? What can you learn from it?
I think know your strengths as well as try to get a feel for your opponents.
Know your strengths.
Know what you're good at. Like know, like okay, I am this good at defending, and I'm this good at attacking. So in this particular instance, I can use this strength, or I'm confident enough to use this skill.
So in certain positions, if you're confident in your defense in that position, then you can choose to ignore and attack something else first. That's a good idea. I think we can take away from that. So in certain positions, if you're confident enough and you know the variations to live and you can see the variations and you're confident that you're reading them correct and you're confident you can handle them, then maybe a Tanuki might be best. And maybe you can go attack something somewhere else because you know what's going to happen. You've already read it. So maybe that's something we can learn is that, yes, defense is big. Yes, defense is important. But once you already know the variations to defend, once you've already read it all out, then maybe we can ignore it. And that might be something we can learn. But I don't know if we could do that every time, but maybe in some positions, that is something we could do. So that might be a good, interesting strategy to learn, is that one right there. So here we see some very cool connection shapes. This looks scary. This looks scary. Still not quite cuttable yet, though. It's still connected. All right, now it looks cuttable. Now I feel like it can be cut. For example, what if I just play here? See, that looks dangerous to me. That, to me, just looks really dangerous. But maybe he's reading this. No, because, remember these forcing moves? So maybe he's just reading here. Then take the eye. I don't know. This looks dangerous to me. This looks very dangerous. I'm actually not sure what AlphaGo is reading. Oh, so he just played a Nobi. Okay, so there's still a cut. So he did cut. He did cut. And now he's going to play this. So we are going to see how he lives. Tanuki. So we're not going to see yet. Black's going to Tanuki before doing it, because apparently Black sees how to live too. We just don't see it yet. Fixes that, so there's no Seki. Or more or less, maybe. Not a Seki. Lives there. Okay, so there's some variation. It doesn't look like we're going to see, if Black plays first how to live, we're just going to see White just live. Alright, so there's some variation up there, I'm sure. I just don't know it. I just don't know. But it looks like both players decided that the top group was alive, so they Tanuki. Life and death is important, guys. Life and death is important. Alright, so for this game, it looks like there's very interesting ways that they handle the fights. But a lot of it was very difficult to follow. I will say that this game was very difficult to follow. Okay, so I would say we're only halfway through, but I think the rest is going to be start simplifying here rather soon. It's just going to be finishing the fights, and then playing the end game. Now, if you recall, I said the fights for the exact moves, they're above my level. I can't tell you all the exact moves. For that, I would say watch the pro reviews because I can't tell you these variations. I can't tell you why they're playing the exact moves. I can only give you a general idea. And then I tell you what we can learn from it as an amateur Q player. If you want to learn the exact variations, then watch the pro games, pro commentaries, and you can see how deep they're reading and how much they're reading and how difficult it is. But I don't think we can apply the reading in our games because we can't read that well. Yes, reading in our games is very, very important. Of course it's important. But I don't think we can read that well. So the exact moves, I'm not as worried about because that's for the pros to review. But for us, what can we learn from this game? So for as amateur players, what can we learn from this game? So we once again saw that AlphaGo values attack over defense, but as we've agreed multiple times now, that's going to be very difficult to apply as an amateur player, but it's a cool idea to think about. Now, we did see a new shape over here. We saw some life into some cool stuff right here, but how AlphaGo handles light groups. There's so many shapes that we can see in these games, and I would say the shapes here are probably something we can look at over time, and maybe after we see these games, all 50 games, we can get a better idea of these shapes. But I would say the attack and defense in this game, the shapes were very, very interesting, and how he defended was interesting. And the reason I say that is because we saw that both players were super weak multiple times, or both black and white was super weak multiple times, but how AlphaGo just dances around and handles it, I think we should learn the different types of shapes, the different type of ideas on how he defended. So I would say this game, probably you could review a couple of times at home and just pay special attention to how AlphaGo defends. Or you can watch this video again, pay special attention to how AlphaGo defends. It is difficult to see as an amateur player, but some shapes I think you can learn from. Some ideas or some timings I think you can learn from. But I would say in this game, the defense was quite interesting. And it was very complicated, and so many times I would have defended sooner, and so many times I would have thought it's a lot weaker than it is. But we see AlphaGo is just managing it very well. So the defense in this game was quite interesting, but I would say one of the big things that we can learn about AlphaGo, maybe not as amateur players that we can apply, but something we learned about AlphaGo is AlphaGo is very, very good at defending. And that is why he's taking Sente so much. So actually something that you said was learn how good your defense is. Know how good your defense is. So maybe that's also another thing we can learn from this game is if you know how good you are at defending, if you know which situation you can handle and which situation you can't. So for example, if you know this situation I can handle, I know what's going to happen, I can handle it, then maybe you can Tanuki that one. So that, of course, requires a lot of good reading and a lot of good judgment. So it takes practice, and you're probably going to be wrong several times. But if knowing yourself may actually tell you when and when not you can ignore. This game, Black won. In this game, Black did win. If you want to see all the games, this is Game 5. If you want to see all the games, you can go to alphago-games.com, or you can also search that, alphago-games.com, but it's just alphago- like a dash games with an s.com, alphagogames.com. It is a weird move to end on, but I want to talk about what we can learn as amateur players rather than the exact moves, and I don't want to do too much. And we also have to keep the videos within a certain amount of time. Well, I say a certain amount of time. We don't want them to be too long. And this one's already been going, I think, almost an hour. So I think we just had a lot to talk about this game. This game was quite complicated.
It sounds weird.
So, yes, this is a very weird move to end on. But we're just trying to learn something from every single game. We don't need to learn everything there is to learn. We don't need to learn every single variation. We don't need to learn everything. As long as we are learning something, like 1 or 2 things from every single game, I think that's good enough when reviewing pro games, especially AlphaGo games. So that's why I'm actually choosing to stop now, is for time. This video, I think, is long enough now for this specific game. I think is long enough. And also discussion. I think we've discussed quite a bit about this game. So for those of you who are just coming in, these videos will be posted to YouTube as soon as I finish editing them and cutting them. So yeah, so that's, I think this for this game, the conclusion is know your strengths and know your weaknesses, and know if you can handle a situation. If you can handle it, you might be able to Tanuki. You might be able to get Sentai. But you need to read it. You need to really read it and judge it properly. So if you know what you can and can't do, then you can potentially ignore a situation sooner. So I would say always be looking to ignore, but know yourself. Can you handle this situation? Can you not handle this? If you can't, defend. Because if you can't handle it, you can't handle it. But slowly increasing your defense may, in a weird kind of way, increase your speed. The better you are at defense, the faster you can be. And that's, I think that's, in one sentence, that's a good way to describe what we can learn from this. And I find that very interesting, how being better at defense can increase your speed. I find this very interesting. But there's a lot of cool things in this game. So this game was probably one of the most confusing ones. I think this one was a lot harder to understand. But it's still some very interesting theories to learn from this one. And a couple interesting shapes, which you can go back and watch. But I think this one was a difficult one as an amateur player to review AlphaGo. This was a difficult one to review and explain to the point where we can learn something. So I found this game challenging to review. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, we appreciate you guys watching and look forward to our next video and the next game. Alright, so do you want to do one more, or do you want to call it quits for today and then just do a couple more tomorrow?
7:15.
It is late for us today.
Yeah.
Today is a little bit late.
A little late.
Okay, so we are doing this all month. We are doing many of these videos all month because I have 50 games to play and 15 hours of study. So we're doing a minimum of 15 AlphaGo games this month. And all these will be posted to YouTube at youtube.com/Clossi. And follow so that way you can see when I go live. I'm trying to go live during the weekdays to get this stuff done. And I go live for a couple hours to a few hours a day. I'm trying. I mean, I'm doing good so far, but I can't promise anything because my life is really hectic. But I'm doing my best to live stream all of this because I did sign up to play 50 games and study for 15 hours, which is going to be basically 15 AlphaGo games, at least, at minimum.
It's a death pact. He has to sing if he doesn't do it. On YouTube. I
have to make a video of me singing, and I really do not want to. So, and that is for this month. So I have to get that stuff done this month, and I wanted to live stream it all, so that way you guys can follow it, see it, and it will get recorded so I can share it on YouTube. So for this month, I'm going to try my hardest to be very active, but yeah, I will do my best. I do my best. So if you want to see more stuff, like and subscribe or follow if you're on Twitch or YouTube, and hopefully you will catch me in the future, and I will give you guys more content to enjoy in the future.
And Pokemonster wants us to explain the poster on the roof.
The poster on the roof?
Yeah, that one.
That's my sister.
Yeah, we live in a camper, so we have no like wall
we
space.
don't have walls.
We don't have
so
wall
we put
space,
all our
so
posters
all
on the
posters
roof. When there's no walls, put the posters on the roof. Put the pictures on the roof. That is our go-to.
that is literally the explanation.
Yeah, but there was no wall space for posters, so we put them on the roof. Easy, right? That was my sister's idea.
Rose is a smarty pants.
Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and we will see you guys next time.